Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I am your host, Dennis Patholkis, and this is Happy Season 2, Episode 10, Resurrection, the season finale of Season 2. And they actually didn't disappoint. I mean, unlike the middle four episodes of this season, which were kind of on the crappy side there, this actually went off fairly interesting. And if they get a season 3, which I'm fairly doubtful of, in this climate that we have of TV shows, um, I'm wondering where the hell they're gonna go with this, tell you the truth. So, before we start everything, of course, spoiler alert, I am gonna spoil the shit out of this episode. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video. You can comment down below in the comment section. Thank you, Viking Bitch, for the paddle. If you're around. I don't know if you're around. I think it might be too late for you and it's past your bedtime. So, yeah. Yeah, we do need a third season now of where they left everything. And I mean, we kind of get a little bit of everything in this. We see we start off 11 years ago when Nick first stopped becoming a cop and got hired by Blue. And it started off all kind of innocently. It's actually the beginning of the episode and the end of the episode kind of correspond to them. Well, yeah, Orcus, the whole thing with Nick. Oh, there you are, Viking bitch. Hey, um, she says, I know I should have liked the episode. All the bad guys got what they deserve, but I feel too jerked around by this season. Yeah, the is a little bit bittersweet, quite honestly. There's a couple of things here. The beginning of the episode, the end of the episode actually are nice bookends to each other because we see at the beginning of the episode Nick working for Blue, and at the end of the episode we see Nick working for Orcus because he owes Orcus now. Well, he's in Orcus's um, debt, I guess you could say at this point, under his power. And yes, I still want an explanation of Happy's powers too. We'll get to that in a second here. I mean, the whole thing with Haley too. Haley is becoming a little badass, much like her mom and her dad. And she's getting ready to go into the show with they have all these metal detectors and everything, and she gets pulled aside by a guard who brings her around the metal detectors and brings her inside. And Amanda, of course, after she shot up Nick in the last episode, she gets dumped in a room unceremoniously and doesn't know what the hell's going on. And they're with that creepy photo album that Smoothie's been following them all this time. So what in the hell is Smoothie's connection to Nick at this point? I mean, because obviously he's been following Haley since she was very, very little and up until the end there. Um, Yeah, you could see it was coming too. I mean, yeah, that they didn't I mean, it wasn't like it wasn't telegraphed. There were some things that were interesting though, the way they did it. And then Sunny, making plans to change the Easter show a bit, using that guy in the leather bunny suit who was going to be the evil Easter bunny, and Sunny was supposed to kill him on stage, and he was okay with it, uh, which I thought was kind of a weird choice. But I'm like, all right, cool. Um, That was a little bit on the weird side. And, the whole thing the one scene I really liked actually was when Orcus brings Haley backstage to meet Sunny, saying that she's his new soloist, and, he explains who she is, that she's Nick's daughter, and that she had survived the Christmas, kidnapping and all this stuff, and, at first, Sunny's like, "Well, she's gonna freeze up here, she's gonna piss ice cubes on the stage," and then she blows smoke up his ass so well. I mean, the whole thing about, it was, my this whole year's been horrible. Christmas has been ruined for me forever. But my dream, my wish, I made one wish, and that was to be, on stage with you. And that's come true. And yeah, I mean, she just butters him up completely to get him up on stage. That was probably my favorite scene out of all of this, just because of seeing how far Haley was going to go for this, and then also seeing how she can manipulate Sonny because he's so far up his own ass at this point that yeah, he'll believe anything. So Robert M says, I think Smoothie worked for Orcus and needed Nick to free him. I don't know about that. I think I don't know if you guys watched the after on that. There's a little, behind the scenes thing where you see Smoothie's head that's sitting out by the jack o' lanterns. The eye twitches. The pink eye moves, and I don't think he's dead, but I think he works for somebody else. But yeah, that whole song, her singing "Wish I Was Bulletproof" up on stage when this was all happening, and that whole Easter show that was pretty fucked up. Uh, and then Smoothie having Nick basically sitting up in the seats there watching, telling him, this is how he's going to break him, is have Haley kill Sonny and become a killer just like him, which is his worst fear. He doesn't want Haley to turn out like him. And of course, Amanda's seeing this. She's freaking out. She's trying to get out of that room. And I mean, and then Happy trying to find Nick when he finally finds Nick, and then telling Nick, this is another thing too, is we got so much on Happy alone in this episode, but without any real explanations of what the hell was going on. He basically said, you believe in me. That's the reason why you can grab me. You're the only person that can grab me. That's why I'm solid to you. And he says, as long as you believe in me, everything I give you is going to be real to you. So he gives him alcohol, which of course is going to counteract the drug that's in his system that's paralyzing him, which Smoothie conveniently told us that, and Nick as well, as he pours in a giant bottle of champagne all over Nick, but not in his mouth. So we had a lot of stuff that was telegraphed to us, but at the same time, you know, there was some stuff that was actually nice, and then some stuff that was just kind of heavy-handed. So we have, of course, Haley taking a shot at Sunnyshine on the stage there after he kills the quote unquote Easter Bunny, the guy, by using a sledgehammer and smashing his head open on stage in front of all these kids. Haley takes her shot. Happy actually is able to grab onto the bullet. So he grabs onto the bullet and tries to stop it, but can't. And Nick jumps in front of it, taking the bullet in his chest, which, if you remember, he foresaw that when he was tripping on the wishy whatever, that he had eaten and had passed through him. When he was tripping balls, he saw her shoot him. That was one of his fears. So I thought that was kind of interesting that we went back around to that again. And I don't know why that was his fear. I know he feared her becoming like him, but then yeah, it was just kind of a weird thing. And yes, all those imaginary friends, because of what happened, because of this show, all those kids had to grow up just like Haley did and lose all their imaginary friends. And so when Happy goes to the bar, the imaginary friends bar, they're all gone. But we also have Amanda, I mean, trying to save her kid from making a mistake, because after you know, her dad takes the bullet for Sunny, she's still gonna kill Sunny Shine and Amanda with that shotgun, man, and just takes him out like uh with, what was it, like 3 or 4 shots. And then of course the TV executives, sitting there saying that it's too bad that he didn't live because he would have loved the Super Bowl numbers that he got for that episode. He was right. He was right. He was going to get some big numbers on that show, and he did. And then they start talking about maybe getting the guy who took out Evil Santa and giving him his own show, which of course was Nick. And then we find out, nope, he's dead. And we see that death that happens. And I love the representation of heaven. Of Nick's version of heaven is this ball of um, people, a ball of naked women with breasts that, when suckled, have the finest bourbon in them, which is what Nick wants. How are so many TV executives still alive? There's always more TV executives, Robert, no matter how many you can kill. That's the joke. is that you could kill a whole bunch of them, and there are plenty more to take their place. That's what the whole joke was on that one. Didn't make any difference. Yeah, yeah. I got that joke. I didn't think it was, haha funny. I thought it was like, okay. It was, okay, got it. And I just kind of moved on. And yeah, I mean, and TV execs are a dime a dozen, quite honestly. And that was what they were getting at as well, was that they were a dime a dozen. You can kill as many as you want. There's just gonna be more that take their place. That was kind of their subtle jab at sci-fi. Well, not so subtle jab, I guess, at sci-fi execs, canceling his show. It's the meta-ness of this whole thing. They know they're gonna get canceled because of what's going on with their ratings and their ratings being shit. And, if they don't pull in good numbers, they're gonna get canceled. But, TV execs don't care. Yeah, so that's the whole meta-ness of all of that. If you weren't getting that whole little uh, jibe there. So yeah, Nick in heaven, when Orcus shows up and it's like Orcus is like, yeah, I've been to this party before. It's actually a lot of fun. But he goes, I can bring you back and you can be with your little girl and your wife, and everything will be good. He just, you know, say the word and I can bring you back. And Nick saying, yeah, I love Nick going, is it hot in here? Why is it so hot in here? Is what he keeps saying. And he finally agrees to it. And Orcus says, oh yeah, and by the way, um, you're gonna work for me. I own your soul for the rest of eternity. And okay, thanks, bye. And he shoots him back in, and of course, Nick is in the crematorium. He's getting burned in the burners there in the oven, and escapes it, of course. I thought it was interesting that Meredith was the next of kin. That's who they put down as the next of kin. Both Nick and Amanda had put down Meredith as the next of kin for Haley. Yes, Maloney did get one more chance to show off his ass Viking bitch. He did. And then the more interesting thing is Happy. Once he goes into the IF bar, the imaginary friends bar, and sees that everyone's gone, we find out that all the imaginary friends have been wiped out in that because of the Easter show. Bo Peep is left, so is Sticks or Twig, and some chattering teeth that are going at it in a three-way in the back room, which of course depresses Happy even further. And as we see Happy going out and just kind of walking the streets, if you will, he's kind of flying through. He's interacting with the real world. He bumps a guy and knocks his coffee over. He hits a street sign and it moves. The dog is barking at him, and he kind of, barks back at it, kind of thing. And he finally just gets pissed off enough and flies up into the sky, where he's like, "What the hell am I?" And of course, he gets an answer from someone who may or may not be God. And we find out that this version is also an imaginary friend, although his numbers are dwindling because the amount of humans that believe in him are dwindling. And yes, Jeff Goldblum as God. It took me a second there. I was sitting there going, this voice sounds awfully familiar. Where have I heard this voice before? And I'm listening to him like, holy shit, it's Jeff Goldblum. Yeah. Jeff Goldblum playing God was awesome. And him just telling him, he goes, I don't know what you are. He goes, you're amalgam of a little girl's pieced together images of an imaginary friend. And he goes, and you got some other things going on too. I don't know exactly what the hell that is. And the whole thing about him saying, you know what, you got a lot going on for you still. He goes, you still have Haley. She's, lost at this point. You need to go and see what's going on with her. Amanda is inside this prison. She still can see you. You still have interactions with her. And Nick is still alive. And he goes, wait, Nick's not still alive. Because yeah, he goes, you might want to check on that. He is. He's still, he's half zombie, but he's still alive. Because Nick actually went through and had an autopsy done. So he really isn't alive. He is a zombie, essentially, is what it is. We do have that confirmation that he is a zombie. He has not been brought back, if you will, as human. which I thought was interesting. That kind of means that, Orcus has more, some powers, and if Orcus has those powers, so does Happy. And I'm wondering if Happy can cure Nick, if we ever get a season 3 of what that would be like if that's the case. And I love how, God tells him, to ball up because because shit's about to get dark. And we go to 6 months later, and it's Halloween, of course. And we see Smoothie picking up a package from Europe, and he's like, "Good, I've been waiting for this." And he's playing his vintage vinyl, 80s music. And who is in the house but Nick? And Nick starts beating the shit out of him, grabs him, and Smoothie is very, very happy because he's like, "You're alive." He goes, "You know how good it is, it's hard to find a really good adversary, someone who is going to give you a worthy death." And he goes, "I'm very, very happy." And Nick's like, "Yeah, I'm happy too. I'm glad I could kill you." And he goes, "Goodbye." And, Smoothie's like, "Bye now." And he starts twisting Smoothie's head around like a top. And as we see him, as he gets twisted around, he's smiling and getting a bigger smile on his face. Yes, that smile on Smoothie's face is very, very wrong. And at the end, Nick taking the head that he just literally ripped off of Smoothie's body and sticking out by the jack-o'-lanterns out in front of Smoothie's house. And it's smiling. And we get the eye, the pink eye that twitches again. So I don't think Smoothie's actually dead. But that whole thing with Happy interacting with the world and not being dead either, because he thought he was going to die when Nick died as well, and that didn't happen. So obviously, there's something more to Happy than what we know. We need to know what this is. I mean, I'm hoping that we get something. If not another season, then maybe another comic from Grant Morrison, and or not even Grant Morrison, if we can get it from Brian Taylor. If we can get that going, that would be nice. And maybe have Derek Robertson illustrate it. That would be awesome. Going back to the comic roots that we had already. So, how was this overall? This season, oh, it was a rough season. Like I said, the middle 4 or 5 episodes were just bad. I mean, just bad. And I understand they were working on the PTSD angle, and that's where they wanted to go with this. And then they kind of dropped that a little bit, and then they went this other route near the end. Um, I'm going to give it a C plus. I mean, if I had to give it a number out of 10, I would say a 6.5 out of 10 for this season. Last episode was really good. It saved a lot of it, but it was very uneven. Yeah, you're right, Pen. It was uneven, but worth watching. Yeah, it has stuff in it that you're not going to see anyplace else. That's for sure. Sorry, I've got dog hair all over my face right now. I don't know if she's shedding or what, and it's all over the place, but oh my God. Yeah, it's just everywhere. Um, so sorry if I keep grabbing my nose there because it's just itching like crazy. Um, so if you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button. Also, you can hit the like button down below here as well. If you don't like what you see here, you can hit the dislike button. I just ask that you go into the comment section and tell me what it is you don't like. Give me some constructive criticism. Also, if you want to see when I'm going to be on live again next, you can hit the bell, and don't hit the bell if you already hit it before because it'll unclick it. You can go into the bell settings and get as little or as many notifications as you want. If you want to see when I'm going to be on next, you can actually go to my webpage, suspendedfanimation.com, and see the schedule up there. It's also on Facebook as well. I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram, and I also have a Patreon, but I don't have any tiers up yet on the Patreon page. So there we go. That is all of that. I got my business out of the way. Yeah, Penn Farm Girl, the Nazi nursing home fight alone was worth the whole. That was actually really good. That was my favorite episode, quite honestly. Was the whole. Um, I thought it was going to be the Anne Margaret one, to tell you the truth, but the whole Nazi nursing home thing was just so wrong and so funny at the same time. But that was worth it. That was actually very, very worth it. I had to make it to the end. Yeah, a Viking bitch, I understand. Yeah, it was one of those things that, um, you had watched this far, you might as well watch the rest of it. Yeah, I understand, but it actually pulled it out in the end, I have to admit. It pulled it out from what was gonna be a D minus for me to a C plus. So, good night, Viking bitch. See you, yes, on Friday. Oh, on Friday? That's right, you don't do iZombie, that's right. So, we'll see you for Swamp Thing on Friday. So, yes, tomorrow is going to be iZombie, and if it sucks again, that's gonna be the last iZombie that we do. And let's see. We have sorry, my brain just blanked all of a sudden. Oh, Swamp Thing, season premiere of Swamp Thing on Friday. Saturday, instead of Saturday morning blast off, we're gonna have Saturday afternoon blast off. Why are we doing Saturday afternoon instead of Saturday mornings? Because I am going to an event Saturday morning, and so I'm going to be a little bit late. So I'm gonna do that in the afternoon, do Saturday afternoon uh blast off. See you, Viking bitch. Thank you. Thanks for joining me. Um, joining us, I should say. And Sunday, we're gonna do Nosferatu, which is an AMC premiere, and that is going to be a series based on Joe Hill, who is the son of Stephen King. His novel Nosferatu, NOS4A2, which is supposed to be like a license plate. It's about vampires, obviously. So we'll see how that goes. And of course, Monday we're going to continue with season 2 of The Tick. And next Wednesday, we have the premiere of Krypton. Krypton. Yes. There we go. I haven't read any of it, Pen Farm Girl. I don't know if it's any good or not. So we'll see how that goes. I was actually kind of on the fence. I know that Good Omens is coming out also on Friday, and I'm gonna try and figure out where I'm gonna squeeze that. I've got to watch it a little bit first. They're gonna drop it all at once. So the reason why I don't have Good Omens on the list at the moment is I need to see if this is gonna be something that is episode by episode worthy, or if it's just gonna be a one and done kind of thing. So Pen Farm Girl says I'm gonna watch Krypton, but I think I'll have to. You don't have to. I mean, again, I'm looking at this. The way I've seen it already, the first season, it reminds me a lot of Gotham. It really does. What Gotham did for Batman, this is doing for Superman. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's kind of how it's rolling for me at the moment. If it turns out to be, a really shitty season, I can dump it. Yeah. But we'll pick up something else. There's a lot of stuff out there, quite honestly. And yes, I did see the Legion promo, by the way, to Pen Farm Girl. I actually posted the Legion promo. That's the new one with Harry Lloyd as Professor Xavier. Yeah. So, yeah, yes, definitely Gotham was better. But if you remember, that first season of Gotham was pretty rough. That first season of Gotham was very rough, actually, just like Krypton. So but I still got that whole feeling, that feeling of that sameness of Gotham, and that weirdness, if you will, where it's a train wreck, but at the same time you can't look away from it. I want to see if they're going to do the same kind of fun stuff they did in Gotham. Yeah, just enough there to keep me interested until the final season. And then yeah, exactly, until the final episode. Then the final episode is just like, fuck. Yeah, they really dropped it on that one. So if you're still on the fence also about joining up here, you're going to see a video that pops up here. It's actually going to take a video from my video library and match it to your interests, what you've been watching on YouTube, and take the best one out of my library and pop it up there. And if you like what you see there, hit the subscribe button down below. You're going to see a little button over here. This button is actually going to take you back to my channel so you can take a look at all the different videos that are up there if you want to watch other videos as well. So that's all up there as well. So with that said, I want to say thank you to everyone who joined me today in the chat, or tonight, I should say, in the chat. Pen Farm Girl, Skilled Leather Art by Viking Bitch, Robert M. And I think there was one other person that was in here earlier. Jimmy Olsen's Blues. That's right. He was in here earlier as well. Thank you for joining. With that said, Good Omens is the one I've been counting the days for. I know I'll end up binging it all. And yeah, that's my whole problem, Pen Farm Girl, is I have a feeling everyone's just gonna binge it, and it's better just a one podcast kind of review, a recap review kind of thing, or just talking about it pretty much and seeing what people thought of it and what I thought of it and all that kind of stuff and doing it that way. Because I don't know if it's going to hold up to an episode by episode thing. I don't think people are going to stick around for it. Kind of like what's been happening with the Tick. I mean, the Tick is more of a labor of love for me. It's one of my favorite characters, obviously, because he's big blue guy standing right there. Um, yeah, and now that's been canceled by Amazon, even more so, just to kind of get it out there and hopefully it gets picked up. I doubt it's going to get picked up, but hey, you never know. One of my favorites. So, thank you everybody for joining me tonight in the chat. Thank you for you guys out there too that are watching, that are commenting down below in the comment section and are liking and subscribing. Thank you very much. Um, and I'm going to let you guys go for the evening. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out because otherwise you may have to make a deal with a pretty bad demon who's going to want you to serve for all eternity. Good night, everybody.